This episode is brought to you by the Software Report, a leading information source on software companies and solutions. Today, we speak with Katy Carrigan, CEO of Goody, a gifting platform making it easy to send personal and business gifts via email, text, or link. No address required. Katy brings a strong background in sales, partnerships, and growth, having scaled teams at Dropbox before joining Goody. She was drawn to the emotional power of unexpected gifting and now leads the company with a focus on simplicity and joy. Goody launched in 2020 as a consumer app but quickly pivoted to B2B after discovering its strongest users were professionals. Now used by over 15,000 companies, Goody powers employee, client, and prospect gifting and integrates with 30 HR platforms to automate gifting milestones. I'm your host, RJ Lumba. We hope you enjoy the show. If you like the episode, click to follow.
RJ Lumba is the Executive Chairman of Market Insight Media and Managing Partner of GrowthCap. He is the host of Key Executives, a podcast for driven executives and business operators. Our podcast covers all topics related to effective business leadership, from strategy and culture to products and services to sales and marketing and everything in between. In the minutes ahead, we'll share with you unique insights and tactics from some of today's most accomplished and inspiring executives.
Katy, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. It's a delight to be with you.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
So you have a super interesting company, Goody, and we'll get into what the company does and all the good work it's doing. But before we head into that, you've got a really interesting background in that you were at Dropbox for quite some time. And it's kind of like you developed like an expertise in sales, and then you kind of applied that later on. And now you're CEO of Goody. But anyway, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I often joke my career path escalated quickly because, as you mentioned, after graduating from school, I went into a sales role. And from there, I continued to just build on a sales and revenue career, from being a direct line seller to working more with channel sales, spending a stint in revenue operations, so deal desk, really understanding the different tools, deal negotiations, legal terms. And before leaving Dropbox, my final stint was actually on our growth team. And the concentration of that role was around taking our consumer users, our free users, and converting them onto a Dropbox business plan. And that was through motion that we refer to as Sales Assist, where you would help people convert either over chat or phone sales. And so I was managing a large team of reps doing that. And then I received a Goody, and I was really blown away by the experience and the product. And I just instantly got it. It clicked. I'm like, oh, this product should exist in the world. This is something that we are already doing as humans, but it hasn't been innovated on yet. It hasn't been made easy. And so I received a Goody myself for the first time. And I was like, okay, I want to work with that team. And so I joined Goody in a revenue capacity, or that's where, my craft was. But with all startups, you wear many hats. So I had this opportunity to start flexing into different teams, different types of roles, which eventually led me to the CEO role.
And what was it about that experience of receiving the Goody? Was it the ease of execution? Was it the whole experience and it being delightful? What was it that really drew you in?
I think that there was still this emotional connection to receiving the gift, even though it had been digitized. So I think gift giving, right, is unique to human nature and culture. It's a way to show someone appreciation by taking your time, resources, putting it into something and giving it to the other individual. And I think it's really hard to take something that is so emotionally driven, and how do you bring it onto a platform without losing that, without it feeling super transactional or not leaving you with that delightful, joyful experience. So I think that's what I was particularly surprised about the first time I received it, is that I still got that dopamine hit, that emotional high of someone unexpectedly sending you a gift, this fun unwrapping, getting something that you were excited about, or being able to pick out something you were excited about. And so I think that's what gets me the most excited too about what we're building. It's not just of making a process easier or frictionless, but doing it without losing any of the emotional sides of gifting.
Mm-hmm. So was it the case that something was selected, it was sent to you via email or text, and then you had the opportunity to choose something as well?
Yeah. So something was selected, but you have this opportunity to swap if it's not the right item. So at the end of the day, you get exactly what you want. And again, in gift giving, where the value matters of like the recipient, how does the recipient really perceive the value of the item you're choosing? You're going to get like the highest perceived value possible when they get to choose exactly what they want, which means you have the highest impact possible in giving that gift.
So if I were to, and this is obviously not going to be one of the products, but if I were to say gift a friend of mine a bottle of wine
Mhm.
and they may not be a big wine drinker, so they could say, well, I'd like to switch it into something else. Is it that the person receiving that bottle of a wine just even perceives it as, oh, that's so thoughtful. Thank you so much. But yeah, I'm going to return this bottle and get something else. They still retain that feeling.
Yeah, and we do. Alcohol is a very popular gift, but the thing with alcohol, especially nowadays, you're really unsure who drinks, who doesn't drink. There's been, massive sober movement. And so the platform's perfect for that type of example of you send someone alcohol because maybe you're a big wine drinker yourself and you want to share that bottle that you love with them. And so there is that thought put into it. But at the end of the day, if they're not a wine drinker or a drinker at all, you're still giving them the opportunity to be like, wow, I really appreciate that someone sent me something, but I'm actually going to grab or pick the thing that is more meaningful to me or that I can share with my family. And at the end of the day, when they're using that item or if they choose like a food item, consuming it, they're going to think of you and it's going to be really positive.
And so I like this, the ease of use. You don't need an address of who you want to gift to. You can just literally text it to them. And then I
Mhm.
guess they would input their information, like send the gift over to me here.
Yeah, correct. So super simple from a sender side, from either putting in their email address, their phone number. You could just generate a link and share it directly with them, whether it's over Slack or something. But then it's up to the recipient to ultimately confirm the item that they want. Or maybe you did send them cookies and they get to decide, do they want chocolate chip cookies or do they want gluten-free ones? So the recipient gets to put in all those preferences in their own address and we're taking care of the rest.
Hmm. And so I imagine your NPS scores are like pretty high. I mean, this is in the whole gift feeling good
Yeah.
genre of businesses.
Yes, absolutely. Exactly. It should be delightful all around. And so, what also is really interesting there is because, we're running a marketplace basically on our side, and that marketplace physical goods are being shipped out, delivered. We have a really, really low return rate or exchange rate because, again, people are picking out exactly what they want. So, comparatively to like a traditional e commerce experience or someone is buying gifts for someone and that person's coming back with their gift receipt, we rarely have that because people are immediately off the back making sure they're getting something that they want.
And is it the volume, majority of the volume, is it related to gifting employees and so it's business related, or how big of a segment is the individual piece?
Yeah, it's small at this point. We started as a consumer mobile app company when we first launched at the end of 2020. But I think with a lot of ideas, you put them out into the world and you see how people receive them. And in this case, the people who were most excited to use the mobile app and were spending the most money on it were actually using it for a business use case.
Hmm.
So in 2021, we pivoted over to B2B, and that's been our primary focus since. So in the last 4 years, it's 90 plus percentage is really on that B2B audience. And that's really where we're spending a lot of our development time, our marketing dollars, sales, because it's such a massive market.
Yeah, I can imagine the HR
Mhm.
department when they want to recognize an employee or, ensure that they're really showing their loyalty and appreciation, they're engaging with your platform.
Yeah, exactly. So our actual like into companies early days was executive assistants. And through working with them, we got introduced to HR departments. And I, the HR persona is one of our main ones at the moment. But through now HR, we're getting more and more airtime in sales and marketing as well. So our whole strategy from early days has been this product led growth approach and making it extremely easy to sign up and use the product so we can go into a company and just naturally spread with the goal of every department using us.
I'm curious what the top selling items are.
Okay, so we talked about one earlier, alcohol, still a very popular go-to gift. Levain cookies have always been very popular on our platform. If you haven't had them before, or if they're a new brand to anyone listening or reading this, they're the best cookies in the world. So I highly recommend them. Home and wellness do really well. So on the home front, air fryers, very good. Wellness, you're going to see a lot of stuff from like massage guns to yoga mats. But at the end of the day, what I like to like remind everyone, or where I think has been part of our success, is that those end users at a company are consumers. So think about where consumers are mostly spending their dollars, and we're going to see similar patterns.
Hmm. I guess switching over into your business itself, I
Yeah.
noticed you have these wonderful posts about your kind of employee gatherings that you do, and you just
Mhm.
did one in Banff. Can you tell us a little bit about the culture of your organization and what you're focused on as you build the company?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the culture is truly like the heartbeat of the company. And I think particularly is something that I try to spend a lot of time thinking about because we are a remote company. So you don't have the natural relationship building that I think comes with working in person day in and day out. Because otherwise, right now, when we're getting on with the team, everything has an agenda or purpose, right? A meeting is put onto the calendar because of a specific topic. And that's great. And like you can keep moving forward and getting a lot of work done, but then you sort of forget like the person side of it or the human side of it. So the things like our offsite are like incredibly important for us as a team to come together and bond and work together in person, but honestly just spend time together as people. So the offsites is like one of the highlights of the year where we get to bring the whole company together. And then we also think about ways that we can bring smaller segments together. How, when we're not together physically, how can we still feel together through having shared goals, shared KPIs, tracking those goals together? But I think the biggest thing at the end of the day, as a leader, my job is to ensure that everyone feels really empowered and impactful in their role. So I think that's how you do a good job of having high retention and keeping people satisfied in their job, is that they're feeling like challenged and they have an opportunity to say that if Goody's successful, that's because of the work they did. And they feel that direct tie back. A phrase I've been saying to my team a lot lately is people want to be part of a winning culture, right?
Mhm.
So we need to make sure as a team that we are consistently winning. And that's one day we're going to feel that with like that really big end goal. But along the way, there's a lot of wins that we should be celebrating. And they're because of the team and what everyone is putting forward. And I'll say finally, there is making sure you have each other's back. So I think that's the other thing is like people want to show up for one another. And so I see that constantly where whether it's someone's having a bad day or they need to be out or they have a big life event, we'll cover you here. Like, right. We want to make sure people can still experience the highs and joys of life and not have to be worried about their work.
Mhm. I'm curious if you have a new kind of growth initiative. I assume a lot of the work being done right now is continuing along your kind of proven strategies and maybe just kind of expanding on what you're currently doing and your sales processes. But is there anything new that you're launching that you're really excited about?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think, yes, because we're going on about 4 years as a company and we've grown a lot since then. So now there's a lot of stuff that, yeah, we've learned that we should keep doing, like you said, and maintain, but also we have so much to do still and so much to grow. And so we need to constantly be pushing more and more strategies, building better product that's more innovative, and then thinking about what are the most effective ways to spread the word. So on a product side, we're really doubling down this year in swag. So as we worked more and more with companies, they naturally started coming to us about like, hey, can we brand these items? Or we really love these gifts, but how do we get our logo on them? So in the last few years, we saw that swag was one of our biggest growing revenue streams. So this year we're doubling down. And what that means for us is making it more self-serve, easier to do, having the product again be just as frictionless to put together swag, send it, buy it as it's been for non-branded items. And then on more of a business side, it's really thinking beyond just traditional, let's say, SEM marketing, but how can we make sure that we're showing up more in social, growing more organically, having a lot of more in-person events. That's something we're concentrating more on this year because we don't have to manufacture intent. Like people are gifting, but people may not know about us. And so what we need to do is making sure that we're staying top of mind and that we make that process so easy that once you do it with us the first time, you'll like always want to continue to use us for your gifting.
Really cool. Switching gears here, we like to touch on investors. You've got great investors. Can you tell us about the value that they've brought to you aside from the financial capital?
So what I love tapping my investors for is that they have the ability to be like kind of heads up and look at the market broadly and see hundreds of different portfolio companies. So your previous question, what are you doing new this year? Well, when I think about like some different strategies we want to try, that's exactly something I'd bring to like my board or my investors to say, hey, this is what we're thinking about. Who in your portfolio has done this well? Or maybe who's tried this and they unfortunately had some mistakes that you can prevent us from having. So, a phrase that I use with one of our board members at NEA, they've been amazing to work with as a firm. And she'll always say to me, is we want to make sure our CEOs are making new mistakes, which I appreciate. So, it's a lot about taking the learnings they've had from the other companies that they've helped build, grow, succeed, and making sure that they're funneling that down to us.
We're heading into the tail end of the conversation. I have two final questions. One is, can you tell us about a person who has had a profound influence on you?
Gosh, I think the first person I think of is my mom.
Hmm.
She's an extremely impressive woman who really has built such a beautiful life for me and my brothers, but was a single mom with just a high school degree, three young children, and put herself through school, worked really hard to now have like multiple graduate degrees and be a teacher and really like through that whole process be so selfless. So definitely inspired by her and her work ethic.
Excellent. Last question. Can you tell us about a charity, cause, or other endeavor that you're passionate about?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Wounded Warrior, it's a really important cause. It's one that we've donated a lot of money to here from Goody, but also personally, a place that my husband and I consistently donate to. My dad did 4 tours of duty, 3 in Iraq, 1 in Afghanistan. I understand firsthand the sacrifice our soldiers and military make, and really just want to give back to that community who has given so much to the country.
Excellent. Well, Katy, I want to thank you again for taking the time. This has been a wonderful conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you.